Right, so the first thing is to locate the drain for the engine oil. On my bike here, it's this tube here. So we're going to unclip that, pull the hose down through the middle of the frame into a pan. We're going to take off the filler cap to let the air in, and then we'll drain the oil out of that. So that's the first stage. Now there's different opinions on whether to run the engine and do it with warm oil. I started the engine up about an hour and a half ago. Just ran it for a few minutes just to warm it up, ready to drain. So I think it's your choice on whatever you want to do. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've just undone the Jubilee clip, move that down the pipe, work the plug out and start to drain the oil. Just going to pop that plug back in to get it down in the frame, just so that it'll drain a bit easier into the pan, just like that. There she goes. Now I'm just going to take off the filler cap, which is up here. Just undo that, just to let the air in, to help the oil all come out. And there's the oil nicely draining. When it starts to slow down, just going to stand the bike upright to get the rest of that oil out. The oil's pretty much drained out, so now I'm just going to take the bike upright, and that should see the last of the oil draining out with the bike upright. Keep it like that for a little bit. So as you can see, it's just dripping oil now, so that's pretty much all the oil out. So now we'll put the bung back in, place the tube back into its retaining clip, and we're ready to put fresh engine oil in. So there's the drain pipe with the plug back in, Jubilee clip secured back in its clip, and there's a full tray of oil. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I've poured the oil from my pan that I drained into, and I'm measuring the oil I've got out. I've already filled my measuring container up to here, which was 1.6 litres, and the rest is 0.8, and I'm just now pouring it into these containers so I can dispose of it. Next thing to do is change the oil filter. First thing is disconnect that cable, get that out of the way. There's a different range of oil filter clamps here. I found this one to be the most successful. It's not easy getting into the oil filter, as you'll know on these bikes. I don't have the big socket arrangement. I'm not a mechanic. This is just, you know, DIY bike enthusiast doing my own thing. So I found this one to be the most easy, and it's got some good strength to it. So you can locate it like that, give it a real good grip. It bends, distorts the oil filter there, but not bothered about that. That's going in the bin. So there we go. Okay, I've now loosened it with the wrench. I've got the pan underneath, big pan. I understand this just gets messy and oil goes everywhere. You can try putting cloths underneath, but apparently it's just one of those things. So I'll take this off, not done this before, so we'll see what we get. too bad. Take the gasket off. There's a little bit of oil dripping out of there, but I can clean all that up. I'll get a rag in there and just try to clean that up as best I can. Get that clean before we put the new one in its place. Okay, so I let the oil drain out where the oil filter was. I emptied the oil filter, and you can see I've got 200 ml of oil out the oil filter and the oil filter itself. So this is the total amount of oil I got out of the engine, the oil pan, the oil filter housing and the oil filter itself, totaling 2.6 litres. And I understand that you put in 3 quarts of engine oil in. That's the capacity, which is 2.8 litres, and you'd expect some to be left in the engine, so I'm not going to put full 3 quarts in to start with. I will top everything up, run the bike and check the oil level, and then just make the final adjustment as necessary. I don't want to put too much oil in, but that's quite encouraging. So engine capacity according to the specs is 2.8 litres, and I've just took out 2.6 litres. Okay, so next thing now is to replace with the new oil filter. This is the oil filter I'm using, recommended for my bike. I've got the chrome finish one. So we're just going to fill up the oil filter with oil, and a little bit on the finger to apply to the gasket, help seal the gasket. You can see I've cleaned oil from where it was. It wasn't too bad actually. I was led to believe it would be very, very messy, but it was okay. So we're going to screw on the new oil filter. Hand tight, and that'll be fine. Reconnect the cable, and now we can fill new oil in the oil tank. So I've got my first quart. I've already used some of the oil from this in the oil filter, so now we'll just pour this in here. So that's 1 quart. Take our second one. That's the second one. So I'm just going to put the third quart in now. So each quart is a 0.946 litres, so say 9.5. So what I've got here now is I took out, if you remember, 2.6 litres of oil out of the whole system. I don't want to overfill, so I've already put in now 2 times that, 9.5 say, so we're at 1.9 litres. So I'm going to fill this now with only 7, so I want to be leaving 2.5 left in the can here, which will give me my final top up. More. A little bit more. So that's pretty much it. Just a fraction. So I'm going to leave it at that. When I've finished all the rest of the oil changes, we'll fire her up and then we'll check the level on the dipstick and then do a final top up if she needs it. Okay.